this trend of 5 to 8% decline is going to continue for 2025 and continue into 2026. Companies that have been largely reliant on that new construction sector for their business are actively opening their eyes and saying, okay, is this the time to begin to sort of put a toe in the water of the retrofit opportunity?
This is the one and only, the original podcast where you can find yours and your business's true value. You're listening to Our Value.
Brought to you by America's insulation source, IDI Distributors.
You want to hear from the best contractors, suppliers, and consultants that dedicate themselves to more than just survival in the business world?
Industry professionals that are dedicated to excellence in every aspect of their business?
Our Value has them all here to share that same motivation and knowledge with you. Tune in and grow a more successful, profitable, educated, and recognized business. Listen to the Our Value podcast to become the industry leader in your market. Find your value with Our Value.
Well, I want to welcome you today to the Our Value podcast. We are talking to someone you are probably very familiar with at this point, and he's certainly familiar with your industry. I am talking to Peter Troast from Energy Circle, and the reason we're talking today is the big, beautiful bill. Might not be as beautiful or flowery as we had hoped for our industry, but it does have some things, and so I'm calling this, where do I go for leads now? 25C is ending, and AI is changing the game. So, Peter, we know how the big, beautiful bill is taking out Energy Star and the 25C rebate, and that means contractors should be beating the drum right now to get those jobs in before the end of the year. But talk about the resources and that, and what you have available through the 25C Means Business program before this all goes away.
Yes. Well, Ken, first of all, thank you so much for having me back. It's great to be here, and thank you again for the service that is this podcast. You're doing a great thing for all of us in the industry. The thing that I want to make sure everybody understands, because we've heard some confusion about this, is that the 25C tax credit does continue to exist for the rest of 2025. We obviously put on a big effort, led by NEMA and all kinds of folks in the industry to try to extend beyond this year. We did not succeed in that, but I've heard a bunch of confusion about whether or not it's dead now, and it's not, right? And so it's the most important thing to keep in mind here is that we've got the balance of 2025 to finish projects, get those projects installed, so that the homeowner in that case can take advantage of that tax credit. And I know there's some misinformation out there that this is not the case, and we now have the balance of this year to rock and roll.
I love it. So with that, what resources do you guys have with the 25C Means Business program? What do you have for them that can help them try and push the message that, hey, you got to do this now?
Yes. So thank you. So first of all, the 25C Means Business program is brought to us by the generosity of the North American Insulation Manufacturers Association, NEMA. Incredible program that has existed since the onset of the 25C tax credit. And what to NEMA's credit, what they have done as the reality of the federal legislation has come to pass is they have enabled us to completely pivot the program to now be fully taking advantage of the urgency messaging that exists for the balance of this year. And so this program consists of free content for insulation contractors. There's no litmus test for how to get into the program. It's incredibly generous by NEMA to do this, and what contractors can avail themselves of is this comprehensive library of materials that that now have shifted into aggressive urgency messaging around take advantage of this before this tax credit goes away. And that, in the world of marketing, where I live, those kinds of scarcity messages that something exists that is going to go away are incredibly powerful messages from a marketing standpoint. They get consumers, they get homeowners to wake up and to act more quickly than they might otherwise act. And so we all know, obviously, that this time of year, as we head into kind of August and September in parts of the country, are some of the most difficult times of the year to get people to take action before that first temperature, switch that happens sometime in the fall. And so one of the great advantages here is that, and we're seeing this in real time with the clients of Energy Circle and with the other people that are already enrolled in the 25C Means Business program, that we are getting the market to move in the most difficult months of the year, the heart of the summer, when people just typically are not thinking very much about insulation. So there's a big opportunity here. And just obviously, I don't think I need to say this, but it's important to say that the jobs have got to be completed in 2025. And so many folks that we're working with are setting some kind of a deadline. You've got to sign your contract by October 1st or October 15th or something like that in order to drive it. And it's working very well. We've for the folks that we've been working with directly that have kind of gotten this message out, many of them are book solid for the balance of the year.
See, that's that message right there. You have the ability right now to go with some marketing to be book solid for the rest of the year, and the marketing is already paid for. You're not having to fork out for this. It's paid for by NEMA. So, Peter, I want to dive into that because, I want you to give some details around how using this 25C Means Business program gives the contractors introduction to the resources that you guys make every day and the insight Energy Circle has. Because normally I would be paying a pretty decent amount. I'm not saying you're pricey or whatever. I'm just saying normally I'm going to spend a pretty hefty penny to work with your team and to get the resources that I can use right now. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the where marketing starts very often is to make sure that you have a solid base of content and information you're presenting to the world that describes what it is you do, and particularly for those contractor business models that may be a bit more oriented towards the new construction market. Very often, for good reason, they have not had the necessity of having consumer-facing information on their website and so forth. And so one of the incredible advantages of this program for companies in that category that may not have had a significant focus on the retrofit market is that we can put you basically in the retrofit business from a web internet marketing standpoint, essentially at overnight and at no cost to you, right? And so NEMA is funding not just the content, but funding us to help place this information on people's websites. And so it is if there ever was kind of a no-brainer opportunity here, particularly given the state of the state with new construction, this is a big opportunity. Now, for those companies that want to be even a step more aggressive about it, we've got Facebook campaigns, we've got Google ad campaigns, we've got a variety of different things out there that people can take advantage of to be more proactive about getting the message out. And if ever there was a moment in time when you need to educate the consumer base, because people may or may not know that this tax credit exists. They certainly may or may not know that it's expiring, but getting that kind of messaging out via something like a Facebook or Instagram campaign that can get in front of a lot of eyeballs is very effective marketing. And as I said before, we've been at this for months on behalf of our clients, knowing that this was a potential outcome, it is working very, very well.
I love that. And to be honest, I know that we've been here before. Meaning I'm kind of switching gears here. Obviously, you're great at targeting retrofit, but what I mean by we've been here before was we all remember '08. We remember
Right.
'09. We've been through a housing crash. And not that today's a crash, but we've certainly been where housing starts went down. So these companies that have targeted new construction, can you talk about the change in starts and the shift to retrofit that is causing in your own base?
Yeah, the signs are obviously not great in the new construction market. The mortgage rates remain high. The tariffs are having price impacts, and the consumer confidence is just low. Right. I think it's just we are in a very difficult time in terms of just people's ups and downs on a daily basis about how they feel about the economy. So it is a perfect storm of kind of negativity around housing starts. All the forecasts, it's particularly hard hit in the South and particularly hard hit in the West. The biggest of the markets, and so all the forecasts that we're seeing indicate that this trend of 5 to 8% decline is going to continue for 2025 and continue into 2026. So companies that have been largely sort of reliant on that new construction sector for their business are actively opening their eyes and saying, okay, is this the time to begin to sort of put a toe in the water of the retrofit opportunity? And what's beautiful, and again, just I can't say enough about the generosity of NEMA for making this happen, is that at essentially no charge, through this program, we can get your website and your presence on the internet to be sort of equal parts. Yes, we do new construction, but yes, we also kind of address retrofit. And so to me, it's a business decision. Obviously, it's a strategic decision that every company needs to make as to whether or not they want to do it. But when, from a marketing presence, internet presence standpoint, someone else is paying the fee for getting you to stood up in this market, my view is, why wouldn't you do it, right? If nothing else, just hang out a shingle. You'll get some phone calls. You can take those jobs if you think they're good jobs, and not to say that doesn't also require a transformation of some of your operations, right? Suddenly, you are now dealing directly with homeowners. You've got to be focused on customer experience. You probably need to incorporate some kind of diagnostic process at the outset that is beyond just a simple quoting process. And so those are changes that have to get made operationally to companies, but they're ones that are not a huge pivot, right? They're not I know, Ken, you're doing all the training all across the country, and you're an incredible resource for that. But my view is, look, a business that has a mix of new construction and retrofit is a healthy business. I mean, it is one that can withstand what happened in '08 and '09 and '10, right? And what is now happening now. And it seems to me that that's just it's good, good hedging, good risk management, and a good thing for your business.
I think that's great because, when we look at some of the key things a new construction contractor needs to enter this retrofit market, you nailed it, in customer experience, testing. It's also going to show me what crews I can send to a retrofit job and what crews I can't, because you've got the attention to detail. You have to pass the test at the end. It's got to look the part, be the part. New construction, there's a number you've got to hit, and that involves drywall, all these other trades. In retrofit, you're probably the only trade going in. And so
Right.
whatever difference you make, you had to make. So for those of you that don't know this already, I would tell you that what Peter is offering, what NEMA is paying for, what NEMA is offering, that carries you into a whole nother part of the business. And even when 25C goes away, if you don't understand this already, go to dsireusa.org and look for other rebates in your area. The solar companies have gone to every municipality across the nation. You simply type in the zip code you're working in, you're going to find all kinds of rebate programs, but look for those. I want to switch gears again because, obviously we've beat the drum a couple of times, and we want them to reach out to you to use these resources, but there's something that came up as a side note, and there are big changes in how homeowners are finding contractors today, and those are obviously the rise of AI. So amidst all this market chaos, we're also seeing major changes in search, how homeowners find contractors. I'll be honest with you, Peter, I was shocked when I saw the numbers of how often Google searches are triggering AI responses. Can you talk about the shift from keyword searching to longer language or conversational searches, whatever the buzzword is today? This thing's looking for language and it's giving long answers that don't involve me anymore. So what can I do?
Well, and I thank you for asking this question. And I want to step back just a little bit more to 30,000 feet about the nature of consumer awareness about the benefits of insulation, right? And one of the things that, amidst all the not so good news from a federal policy standpoint, there are some other significant trends going on in our universe and our world that are very much in favor of insulation. And the number one sort of those things is the rise of energy prices, and this is directly related to AI and the energy appetite that the data centers have, and the demand that is up, and across the country we are seeing rises in electric rates everywhere, and people are beginning to kind of feel the pinch of this. The other major thing that's happening, and it's was in the last couple of days here in the Northeast, is the advent of forest fire smoke around us, and the opportunity that exists to address the envelope to take care of that. The other significant trend, as we push and push and push hard on heat pumps in many, many states, is the recognition that heat pumps are not going to function well and when you don't address the building envelope. So all of these are trends that are very much positive for the insulation industry. At the same time, homeowners enter down this pathway not saying, oh, there is smoke around my house, I need to air seal my house in order to prevent that smoke from entering the building. They don't understand that. And so where this relates so importantly to the whole AI trend is that most of the searches that begin when a homeowner just sort of sets on the path to I got to figure out how to solve this problem are informational searches, right? How do I prevent the smoke from getting inside my house? What is the most important thing I can do to address the fact that my electric bill went up $100 last month? And especially for those kinds of what we call informational searches, things that are at the top of the funnel, more and more and more, as you pointed out, Ken, what is being generated in the search engines is a AI overview, and or this tab that now exists in Google called the AI mode, where the search engine is actually giving you this long form answer. And so that represents, alongside of the, meaningful amount of people using ChatGPT and other AI-based search engines like Perplexity and or Claude, that there is more and more search happening in that kind of mode. And so what has changed over the course of the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months is that the old practice of search engine optimization, all the things that you would normally do to try to make yourself appear more favorably and to rank higher in searches, has now been sort of augmented with this need for what is commonly called these days GEO, generative engine optimization. And so there's a whole new science. For years and years, we've been parsing Google and trying to figure out how to do this. And now we have both SEO, the traditional thing that exists, and now we have this GEO. Some of the tactics have some overlap, but there's some nuances to it. And so suddenly we are in a whole new game in terms of how we position ourselves, the content we have on our websites, all of the things that are necessary to kind of optimize that.
I think there's even more to it when you look at how I blog, how I do my pages. I think that those questions that you're saying people are searching for really would need to be part of my page, so that Google is using me as the AI answer.
That's correct.
And so, what's the latest in how Energy Circle is helping clients to manage that transition?
Well, first of all, one of the things that is a principle of Energy Circle that has about our use of AI is that we first and foremost want to provide the efficiency benefits that we're achieving with AI as a customer benefit. So in the case of our service that was search engine optimization, we have now combined that service, search engine optimization, with generative engine optimization, and are not charging any more for it because we are getting some efficiencies and we want to pass those savings onto our clients. And so we are very actively doing that. I can tell you that content remains king, right? If content was the thing that was most important, to your point, addressing the sort of inquisitive nature of most of those searches, right? The question-based kinds of things. That kind of question-based content is very effective in SEO. It's very effective in GEO. The other major factor here is that all indications are that brand, meaning the strength of the presence of your company name, right, out in the internet, in very much in the internet way, is becoming increasingly important in both sides, in the AI search as well as in kind of traditional search. And so all of the things your Google business profile mentioned, whether or not you're taking advantage, here's a pro tip. Ken, one of the things that's happening, Google has a product called Local Services Ads. It's where you pay on a per lead basis. This has been existed in HVAC market for a long time, and finally, after a lot of browbeating by us and various other people, Google is finally rolling that local services ad product out for insulation categories. And so there's an opportunity here. It's not universally available across the country, but it's coming, in fits and starts across the country, and where it exists and where we've been able to jump on it with first mover advantage for our clients, it's quite effective, and it's a kind of a no-brainer, right? You're going to pay $26 or $30 for a lead, and you pay for as many of them as you want. And so far, because it's early in the game and the competition is relatively low, pretty effective. So things like that are out there and are kind of changing on a day-to-day basis are what's so critical to being on your game in this retrofit market.
It's funny because, you are the first person I ever heard LSAs come up from, or local service ads. There's a lot of things, first mover advantage, I first heard from you. And so, as a closing note, I want to know, are there simple signs that should tell me, say I'm in Nebraska or Wyoming or, Nevada, that should tell me my marketing company or my efforts are not keeping up with the times? How do I know my company is, we'll just say, quote, worth their salt?
Yeah. Well, I think the real issue here that everyone needs to recognize is that the task of marketing insulation is a nuanced challenge, right? It is not just as simple as hanging a shingle out there that says, yes, we install insulation. We do attic insulation, we do basement insulation, we do wall insulation. Those are, if you don't understand the subtleties and the nuances of this market, particularly what I said earlier, which is that at the top of the funnel, most of the searches are very informational in nature. People don't know yet that insulation is the solution. They know they have a particular problem, right? And the problem might be, hot room, it might be cold room, whatever it is. And so it is difficult, for a marketing agency that is a generalist agency that, right, serves, works in Dallas and serves, all the different kinds of businesses in Dallas, to really understand these subtleties and nuances that exist in our insulation world. So that's, I think, the first thing is the extent of specialization and understanding. And then, that translates obviously to the kinds of content that you're creating. Right. And just all of the subtleties, the knowledge of, in different markets of what leads, is attic insulation the primary term? Do people think of, is the search term insulation contractor? Is it insulation installer? Is it insulation, they don't even, you don't even know what they're typically looking for. And so, we've obviously bet the farm on specialization as in a particular sector as our calling card, and it's been successful. Obviously, well, it's not obviously. Our clients are very successful as a result, and I think especially around this category of the building envelope and insulation and air sealing and so forth, knowing the little subtleties and the sort of nuances of how homeowners think about this world is critical.
That is fantastic. Well, guys, there you have it. That's an update on where we are, where we should be going, where we need to be come January, and really a good plan going forward into 2026, 2027. Obviously, we can hire up when housing starts take off again, if we get a new Fed, and who knows what they're going to be like. But the fact of the matter is, people have houses right now that have, wildfire smoke, floods, tornadoes, getting a heat pump. My kids are sick. We have allergies. All of these things, they're out there trying to solve. You want to be the solution. And I would suggest that you do that with someone that really understands what it takes to, bring you a healthy group of potential customers. So with that, Peter, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm really glad to have you.
Well, it's great to be back, Ken. And I just reemphasize, there's about 300 plus contractors that are already in this 25C Means Business program. You do not need to be in it to take advantage of what we've talked about today. You can sign up, this afternoon. You can sign up in the next couple of days. Just go to the 25C Means Business website and just sign up, and that'll start the wheels in motion. And we are welcoming new contractors into the program, and we'll continue to do so throughout the balance of the year until we just hit the wall of, it's too late to get, it's too late for contracts to get completed by the end of the year. But I think we're in a real horse race. Make hay while the sun shines, and we'd be very excited to work with anybody who wants to join in that program. And it's a great way to get a taste of what it's like to work for Energy Circle, with NAMA footing the bill for that. That
is fantastic. Well, if you have any questions on 25C, on any of the products we carry, or even, other ways we can help you grow your business, reach out to your local rep, reach out to anyone at IDI, where we look forward to earning your business every day.